wall became a forbidden zone where rats could not set foot. Now this area has turned into a natural killing zone. Do you think the fortress built by the Empire is just for show? A group of brainless idiots. Just at this moment, the system suddenly sent a new prompt. The boss, who is just indicated by a question mark, suddenly has a name. This means it's time for the boss to make an appearance. Their intentions are very clear. They aim to break through the weakest point in the wall. Stop them. We must stop them. Ethan takes advantage of the monster's characteristics. He has turned the city wall into a new killing zone. Just as everything is moving in a positive direction, the boss of the Sewer Rat Legion, Ratman Warrior, appears. Accompanying them is the second wave of the Sewer Rat Legion. Almost at the moment of appearance, Ratman Warrior charged straight towards the city wall. Don't just stand there. Make sure to stop them. All the artillery immediately fired at the newly appeared Ratman Warrior. But the Ratman Warrior completely ignored those shells. It ran straight towards the city wall. Keep in mind their size. They are at least twice as big as the Ratman Ethan encountered in the dungeon. Once it collides with the city wall, all previous efforts will be ruined in an instant. Just at this moment, the ammunition loading of the automated defense turret is completed. Instantly dozens of shells shot straight towards Ratman Warrior. The overwhelming firepower instantly engulfed it. That's it. The first boss fell in front of everyone. But the situation has not improved now. They are back. Be ready. Make sure to take down Ratman Warrior. Fire the cannons. Spare no expense. Full firepower engaged. Activate the magic amplification artifact. The target is Julia. His Royal Highness the Prince. I seem to have an endless amount of power now. You group of brats. Let me teach you how to respect the elderly. I only saw dozens of thunderbolts falling like raindrops among the group of rats. In just an instant, countless rats melted away. But it's precisely because of this. Ratman Warrior did not fall. Julia's attack has been spread out too much. The remaining damage is not enough to kill Ratman Warrior. Lily. Use Flamethrower quickly. But His Royal Highness the Prince. The artifact is still cooling down. So, Lily, you have to personally take action. The powerful firepower instantly engulfed Ratman Warrior. In the blaze of fire, Ratman Warrior finally came to a halt. As the flames dissipated, the second Ratman Warrior fell. But at that moment, the third Ratman Warrior pushed aside the fallen comrade blocking the way. There is one left. We must stop it. Only to see Lucas carrying the sword on his shoulder. His gaze was determined. The next second, Lucas's long sword flew straight out from the city wall. But this sword's damage is still not enough to kill the Ratman Warrior. His Royal Highness the Prince. One more shot is needed. Dennis. Put a period on all of this. There was no hesitation. Dennis fired the stone crossbow in his hand. Success. We killed it. But the next second, Ratman Warrior stumbled towards the city wall. Ethan didn't expect that. After sustaining so much damage, it could still move. With a loud noise, Ratman Warrior fell down. But in the end, it fell beneath the city wall. The city wall was breached. Time goes back a few minutes. Margrave watches the battle from a distance. As a battle-hardened commander, he quickly noticed the differences in this group of monsters. Not only were they enormous in scale, but the monsters were also not a motley crew. Instead, a unified legion has appeared. He couldn't believe it. Ethan had already gone through 3 battles like this. Margrave finally understood why Ethan had been so insistent on asking for help. That young noble, who only knows how to enjoy himself in the capital, did an unbelievably good job. But all of this is still too dangerous. The Margrave is very hesitant about whether or not to help. But he remembered the scene when he returned to the orchard. The memories left by Crossroad were just too painful for him. And Margrave has already stepped down. As an elderly person, he doesn't need to personally get involved anymore. When he saw the monsters attacking the city in front of him, Margrave finally understood why Ethan was so eager to ask for his help. But he had stepped down already. There was no need for him to personally intervene now. It's fine as long as he accompanied his wife to enjoy their golden years in the orchard. But at that moment, Margrave heard a loud noise. Ratman Warrior broke through the gates of Crossroad at the moment of his death. But Margrave has sworn never to return to the battlefield. He just wants to return to the orchard now. My wife is waiting for me. I will definitely protect you this time. At the same time, Ethan issued an evasion order to the town. Immediately, the city gate has been breached. Now the residents in the town are no longer safe. The second wave of the Sewer Rat Legion is already at our doorstep. Leave a few artillery and archers behind. Members who can engage in melee combat should go to the base of the city wall. Remaining personnel, continue firing the cannons. Be sure to build a fire net in front of the collapsed city wall. Julia, you can rely on your judgment in battle, but it's best to resolve as many enemies as possible at once. Once you have gathered enough mana, release all the lightning. Now only Host is available as an artifact. Where is the flame artifact? There are 10 minutes left until it's fully charged. Apply the haste to the soldiers of the White Blade group immediately. Once the flame spray is fully charged, use it right away. At this moment, Dennis has fallen into deep self-blame. He feels that the current situation is all caused by himself. Ethan's idea exploded in Dennis's mind. So far, you have been performing very well. I won't blame you for a few small mistakes. So don't be discouraged. As a sniper who can hit enemies 100% of the time, Dennis is the cheat code in this world. Just having such excellent subordinates like you gives me great power. So I hope you can have confidence in yourself just like I believe in you. Dennis, listen carefully. You are to be the final line of defense guarding the fortress. You are to snipe those who slip through the cracks between the blades of the White Lotus. The sewer rat infiltrating the city. Ethan can do nothing now. All he can do is pray that they can each complete their respective tasks. They have entered. The Byron team is ready. In an instant, the expressions of all the soldiers are extremely serious. They are waiting for Sewer Rat to enter the fortress. The moment the first Sewer Rat enters, it is killed with a single sword strike. As the commander of the White Blade group, Lucas must set an example. The passage they came out from is very narrow. Don't panic. Deal with them one by one. With Lucas' inspiration, all the soldiers were in high spirits. But Ethan found something wrong. The number of sewer rats on the city walls is increasing. Ethan suddenly realized that these monsters must be secretly expanding the passage. The flame jet artifact is ready. The next second, a sharp scream caught Ethan's attention. Only to see a portion of the sewer rat had climbed up the city wall and killed the alchemist. Those alchemists fell in front of Lily like that. Ethan rushed over and punched the sewer rat. But the damage this time was not high. The monster was just knocked back. Sewer rats are still climbing up the city wall continuously now. Bring them all over here. You bunch of damn bastards. The gaps in the city wall are constantly being enlarged by the monsters. Many monsters have already climbed onto the city wall. And because of the casualties of the alchemists, the artifact cannot be activated. Members of the White Blade team on the first floor also suffered casualties. The distant interception team should have helped reduce their burden. But the number of casualties on both sides is increasing. Even Ethan had to rely on the lucky glove to join the battle. If this continues, there will really be irreparable losses. A turning point appeared at a critical moment. It was Lord Margrave. He heard the voices of soldiers. Ethan quickly looked towards the outside of the city. Just then, a dazzling light came from the plain not far away. Ethan still remembered that long spear. The stubborn old drunkard. At this moment, he was charging alone towards the monster. You damn monsters. Come at me. When Ethan saw the familiar glow, he knew that Margrave had used wide-scale provocation. In this way, all sewer rats will target him. He does not understand. What does this old man, who is no longer willing to guard the fortress, want to do? What are you doing? Acting like that will get you killed just like Margrave. But the only response he got was Margrave's unwavering gaze. Shire Chris was born in a fortress that blocked monsters, whether it was when he inherited the position of Margrave after his father's death, or when he became a lord at a young age. He hunts monsters every day. For him, the world is just that simple and clear. It was so until that woman came to the city. What do you want to sell in this city? Sell flowers, my lord. The businesswoman got the permit to open a shop in the city. Shire Chris was very speechless facing that woman. This is the monster frontline. What we need here is guns and ammunition. Flowers are of no use here, and they will wither soon. It's precisely because they are useless that people need flowers. The reason flowers are beautiful is precisely because they will wither soon. Shire Chris couldn't understand, so he doubted that the woman was a spy sent by a hostile country. To find evidence that the woman is a spy, he goes to the flower shop every day. Later, he began to distinguish the colors and fragrances of the flowers, and he remembered all the different types of flowers. But he still could not understand why the flowers were beautiful. 1 year later, Shire Chris proposed to her. Time goes back to now. Margrave's skills have attracted the attention of all the monsters. At that moment, the sewer rat legion surged towards him alone. Margrave rushed into the midst of the monsters as before, doing what he used to be best at. He still remembered that day when the monsters invaded. That night, he hurried home right after repelling the monsters. Honey, look. This is your daughter. Shire Chris hadn't had a chance to wash away the blood and dust on his body. He carefully picked up the little one. Bunny, our daughter, lives up to her name. Isn't she beautiful? But Shire Chris didn't respond as he was not quite sure. He doesn't understand. Such a fragile little creature that could easily vanish. Why does it bring joy to people's hearts? Just a while ago, he was all-knowing when hunting monsters. But now, he can't understand anything. When the monster was about to break through the final defense line, Margrave appeared. He used the wide-scale provocation skill to attract the attention of all monsters. He clearly swore never to guard here again. Yet, he appeared without hesitation. Quickly prepare the troops. Do not use heavy weaponry to avoid accidentally injuring the Margrave. Only use crossbows and bows. Shoot at the peripheral sewer rats first. Lucas, take all soldiers capable of close combat to the outskirts of the city. Make sure to rescue Margrave. Your Highness, we not only need to rescue Margrave. This strategy involves us circling around behind the group of sewer rats to launch an attack, which will enable us to annihilate them in one fell swoop. We will annihilate that group of guys. Come back alive with Margrave. Everyone, let's take down those guys together. Bring Margrave back alive. Ethan can only pray in his heart at this moment. He hopes that Margrave is not in any danger. The old drunkard who swore not to guard the city is now fighting for the city. Shire Chris himself also does not understand. He does not understand why he is doing this now. Clearly, he had already decided to spend his last moments beside his wife. Why did he suddenly choose the city again? He doesn't know. He is attracted by something in this detestable city, which is why he is fighting again. Although he has striven all his life to understand, he still does not understand himself. However, there is one thing he is very clear about. Flowers and daughters. He wants to protect those fragile and fleeting lives from the invasion of those monsters. Behind the city walls lives my daughter, and the world where my daughter lives. None can pass. Not even one. As time passes, more and more wounds appear on Shire Chris's body. But he still hasn't fallen. Still blocking these monsters. He knows. No matter how seriously he cultivates the orchard, how many monsters he hunts here, those times can never come back. But the man who only knows fighting in his whole life will definitely wield his spear again. even if it's just to defeat one more. Shire Chris persists in carrying his companions on the journey to the Yellow Springs. Gradually, the surroundings quieted down. He was curious why the monsters did not attack him anymore. Perhaps he had stopped breathing. At this moment, a voice from the side caught his attention. Chris Margrave, you have defeated all the monsters. The battle is over. At this moment, Shire Chris finally regained consciousness. The monsters have been destroyed. You can rest now. Like this, the Margrave Shire Chris a crossroad has fallen. After repelling the monsters, Ethan arrived here on horseback as soon as possible. His Royal Highness the Prince. I'm very sorry, it seems like I arrived late. Ethan did not scold Lucas. He walked forward step by step, under the gaze of all the soldiers. At this moment, Dennis is treating Margrave's injuries in the crowd. Ethan saw himself being watched. Dennis shook his head. Ethan immediately took out the advanced potion he got from the reward chest. Maybe this could help. Take it back. Using that probably won't heal my injury. It will just hurt a lot. Margrave single-handedly defended against the attacking Sewer Rat Legion. Ethan also wants to use high-level potions to help Margrave recover. Using that probably won't heal my injury. It will only increase my pain. Help me up. I can't see anything. Has the battle ended? Margrave, you have made great contributions. Did they not break through the city walls? Even though they broke through, we did not let a single monster in. The people in the city are also safe and sound. That's good. Don't look so lifeless like that. This is the front line of monster. It's only natural for someone to die. It's just my turn. Do not feel sad for the loss of one person. Instead, feel happy for the victory and survival. This is a city built upon a graveyard, although it is derogatorily named due to the large number of casualties. But even on top of a graveyard, there is still meaning in people's lives. Being solely focused on mourning due to sadness will bring the city to a standstill. While holding a funeral is good, it is also important to let everyone feel the corresponding joy. I will definitely keep that in mind, Lord Margrave. Hope is the best motivation for people to keep living. So if anyone is to die, it should be me, someone who has no hope to lose. Please promise me one last thing, His Royal Highness the Prince. You name it, Margrave. As long as it is within my ability, I will definitely do my best. If one day, my daughter comes here, please help me tell her, saying, Dad is sorry for what happened. Hope you can live freely, and according to your own desires. I'm sorry, my wife. As a knight, I ended up not being able to protect anything in the end. I couldn't protect the orchard and you. Also our daughter. No, you did. Margrave, you saved the world. Not just this time. You have been saving the world all your life. Saved everyone above the front line. This world owes you a lot. But Margrave did not reply. He just kept apologizing. Ethan knew Margrave could no longer hear him. Just then, Ethan remembered. Margrave had given him a bag of dried fruit. He didn't understand before why Margrave kept holding on to these dried fruits, even though he himself didn't find them tasty. Maybe it was all for this moment. These grapes are really sweet. And with a smile, Margrave stopped breathing. A heavy tolling of bells sounded in the distance. It signaled that the invasion of monsters had ended, the bell to lift the evacuation order. Ethan cannot understand the man who lost everything to protect the city. The man who voluntarily gave up his family business out of extreme hatred for the city. Why did he come back at the last moment, and what did he sacrifice for? What is it that the front line has that could devour someone's entire life? It's so heavy. The position of the Margrave in this city. It's truly so heavy. The sound of the bell keeps echoing in the air. This tough day has finally come to an end. Shire Chris became the only hero character to die in this scene. When Ethan returned to the mansion, it was already evening. My lord, you're finally back. Did you get hurt? I have been very worried about you. Ethan ignored Ide's praise and instead grabbed his collar directly. I had not reacted yet, and was pressed against the wall by Ethan. The first thing a man does after winning a battle is not to celebrate. Come clean with me, you damn supervisor. The current situation is clearly very strange. What on earth is going on with this insane difficulty level? The tutorial scene was originally that kind of place, so I didn't pay attention. Although Ghost Knight appeared in Scene 1, I still took it as my own misfortune. I didn't care about it. But in Scene 2, an NPC that gives orders to monsters appeared. What exactly did you do? Will something strange happen in the next scene again? You clearly said you wanted to help me. Why are you hiding this matter? Explain it to me clearly. Lord, you may not believe what I say, but I am helping you in my own way. Stop talking nonsense. Will helping me lead to this kind of thing happening, and you don't tell me anything? The necklace you obtained in the scene tutorial. As long as you pass Scene 3, its skill will be unlocked. Once that skill is unlocked, you will be able to understand all the points that are puzzling you now. As long as you go through another scene, you will understand why this happened. I hope my Lord can bear it. I sincerely pray that you can continue to fight with the same determination after knowing the truth of this crazy world. Because at that time, there will really be no escape. Escape from what? Why should I escape? Escape from the world itself. But I didn't tell Ethan. On that day, a little girl set foot on the way back home. 3 days had passed since Scene 2 ended. Half-mast flags fluttered in the city, as if the air was heavy, yet Crossroad remained the same as usual. They were busy preparing for the next defensive battle. After the day's itinerary ended, Ethan boarded the carriage back to the mansion. There are 12 days until the next scene. The repair of the city wall is also going smoothly. Ethan saw a strange figure at the gate of the mansion. He was about to alert Lucas, but the person had already approached the window of the carriage. Lord Ethan, as a nobleman, was attacked at the gate of his own mansion. Fortunately, Ethan was not hit by the girl's attack. However, the girl actually just wanted to puncture the wheels of the carriage. After the attack, Lucas got out of the car immediately to check on Ethan's condition. After confirming that Ethan was unharmed, he immediately took out his sword and looked towards the attacker. But neither of them expected that the one attacking them was actually a child. What a mischievous little rascal. You must not underestimate her just because she is just a little rascal. She should be a trained combatant. Look at that little rascal's clothes. That is the uniform of the Imperial Royal Academy. What are the students of the Academy doing here? Hurry up and report your names. That's the question I should be asking, right? Uncles. This is the house I used to live in. But coming back for a rare visit, I found it occupied by a group of unfamiliar soldiers. I don't know if those people are bandits, who have been causing trouble since the old days, or the forces of a duke from an invading enemy country. There is too little intelligence. Just as I hesitated, I happened to see the uncles driving a carriage over, so I intercepted you. The lord of the city encountered an attack at his own doorstep, and the attackers were the ones who ambushed him. Turns out it was just a little brat, because the mansion was the house she once lived in, and now it is occupied by a group of strangers. Ethan happened to pass by, so she reached out to stop him. Why didn't you just ask directly? Why did you have to damage the carriage? That's how we were taught at school. We are told to suppress first whenever there is suspicion of an enemy. I didn't intend to damage the carriage to this extent. I'm really sorry about that. On second thought, who are you guys? Why are you occupying someone else's house at will? I will decide whether to teach you a lesson based on your answer. What nonsense are you talking about, you little brat? This is the residence of Lord Crossroad. Of course, it belongs to Lord Crossroad. So what does that mean? Clearly, my father is the lord here. The moment they heard this, Ethan and Lucas both fell silent. On the third day after Margaret passed away, her daughter returned. That's right. You are Bunny Chris. Uncle, do you know me? I often hear your father mention you." In the moment when he locked eyes with her, Ethan deeply felt that this girl is Margrave's daughter. Those green eyes are very similar to her father's. But Ethan clearly remembers. The bunny in the game is a tall and slender beauty. So he doesn't understand why Bunny is so short. How can you comment on someone's appearance like that in person? Saying that kind of thing is very rude. Ethan just noticed. Bunny is already shaking with anger. You actually mock someone's physical flaws in person. It seems like you have many lives. No, I only have one. So you should cherish life even more. I have changed my mind. I just wanted to inquire about the situation earlier. But now I am getting serious. Just as the words fell, Bunny charged towards Ethan. Seeing this familiar posture, Ethan was certain she must be Margrave's daughter. The next second, Bunny's attack was blocked by Lucas with his sword. Quickly put down your gun. The person in front of you is the third prince of the empire. You not only illegally occupy other people's houses, but now also falsely claim to be part of the royal family. When Lucas wasn't paying attention, Bunny kicked the sword out of his hand. The third prince is a well-known playboy. How could he possibly come to such a remote and impoverished place? You can tell by Lucas's gaze. He has already become serious. Ethan didn't expect things to turn out like this. This uncle's skills are pretty good. Of course. Bunny, Mississippi. I am still your senior in the college. I am the runner-up of the 369th session of the Imperial Royal Academy. Lucas. Also, Ethan, His Royal Highness the Prince is behind me. He is also an alumnus of your academy. He is among the students of the 369th class. But he is a legend among legends. Ethan is very curious. Why does the owner of this body still have such a story? Originally, Ethan was a prince. But he swore to become the bottom student of the Imperial Royal Academy. You even dare to claim to be my school senior now. Do you think I cannot distinguish a school senior, you fools? But since you want to play, then I'll accompany you to the end. The 375th chief graduate who graduated early. Buddy Chris. I say hello to the two senior brothers of the 369th cohort. On the third day after Margrave's death, his daughter came back. Bunny did not know that Margrave was no longer the lord here. She attacked the carriage because Ethan had taken over her home. That's it. Bunny and Lucas were fighting each other. And judging by their appearance, both of them were serious. Perhaps because they are both SSRs. So the battle between the two of them was very intense. While this kind of battle has broadened Ethan's horizons, if it continues, someone will definitely get hurt. Almost enough. It seems there is a misunderstanding. Let's have a good chat to clear up the misunderstanding next. But the two knights were completely immersed in the battle. No one paid any attention to Ethan's words. Ethan had no choice but to rely on the lucky glove to stop this meaningless battle. Not much damage needs to be inflicted. Just need to help both people calm down. With such thoughts in mind, Ethan punched Bunny's shield. The lucky glove dealt 777 points of damage. Ethan didn't expect to draw this unexpected number at this time. Bunny discovered that colorful light appeared on her shield. The next second, this light covered the entire Lord's mansion. And Ethan, who threw this punch, was also scared for a while. He didn't understand. Why of all times, did he happen to be so lucky to win the grand prize? Your Highness, your fist strength was quite impressive just now. How did you manage to do that? But anyway, Bunny is still just a child. How can you be so cruel to a child like that? Lucas. You say she probably hasn't run out of breath yet. Bunny still remembers. When I was a child, every time there was a monster invasion in the city, her mother would always go to her room to accompany her. Mom is worried that you are afraid of monsters. Mom only came to comfort you. Although Mom says that every time, Bunny knows. It is Mom who is actually afraid of monsters. Mom, you are really something. Dad will defeat all the monsters. But Bunny later found out. Mom is not afraid of monsters, but of losing Dad. And one day, the daughter will also face the fate of going to the dangerous front lines to fight. And so the mother's figure vanished in front of Bunny. The dream is over. The surrounding is filled with the extremely familiar scent to her. Turns out Bunny has returned to her own room. With a knock on the door, Bunny's room door was opened. After hearing someone come in, she immediately covered herself with a blanket. Ethan walked straight over and sat on the chair next to Bunny's bed. We haven't seen each other for 3 years. Have you been doing well during this time? It's obvious even without asking. You love hunting monsters so much. You must be having a great time every day. In fact, Bunny didn't want to say those words. But when she thought of her father, the words just came out involuntarily. I'm sorry. Bunny, I am not your father. Bunny just realized this. Bandages are wrapped around himself, and his weapon has been taken away. I really did go too hard yesterday. So it was you. The uncle from yesterday. You look frail and delicate. But turns out to be the uncle who unleashed the crazy punches. No matter what, let me introduce myself again. I am the third prince of the Empire, and the current lord of Crossroad, Ethan Evable. Clearly, he is a bandit who seized the lord's mansion. He claimed to be the lord here, and even disguised himself as the third prince of the Empire. I'm not a 3-year-old child. Why are you still talking nonsense there? If you were the prince, what country's queen am I? Ethan didn't say anything. He just lightly took out his token. It is the royal token of the Empire of Ebibol. It's actually real. I'm a fan of His Royal Highness the Prince. Can you help me get an autograph? Ethan seems a bit helpless. But he still did as Bunny said. Because I am the most famous playboy in the Empire. Is that why you became my fan? You don't know? You are the most unruly playboy in the whole Empire. I have always wanted to rebel against my father. I not only cause trouble, but also act recklessly. I even bring shame to the family's reputation. So I ran away from home and got accepted into the Royal Academy that my dad hates the most. But don't mention rebellion. I was even forced to become a model student there. Ethan is well aware that Bunny is not just a model student. She completed a 6-year program in just 3 years and graduated early as the top graduate. She is a genius who will be remembered in the history of the school. My only act of rebellion was just not contacting my dad for 3 years. It's actually quite a cute form of rebellion. But during that time, I heard the legend about you that my dad is the Imperial Majesty, the Emperor. Yet you dared to annoy him every day. And the mischiefs you caused every week were completely different. Not only did you make a fountain out of gold. I heard that the Emperor was so angry with you that he almost had a stroke. You are really amazing. His Royal Highness the Prince, you are my role model. Ethan didn't expect that. Clearly living a life like garbage can still become someone's role model. But then again, His Royal Highness the Prince. Where's the old man in our house anyway? I plan to deal with him piece by piece during this time, using the law of filial piety derived from His Royal Highness the Prince to deal with him. Could he have known in advance and hid himself away? Bunny, you didn't come back only after receiving the news. What news? I just came back home after graduating. Upon hearing Bunny's words, Ethan couldn't help but clench his fists. Has something happened here to His Royal Highness the Prince? I am sorry to tell you in this way, Miss Bunny. Your father's Shire Chris Margrave has passed away. He sacrificed his own life in a battle with a monster a few days ago, saving all the people in the city. His sacrifice is extremely honorable. I have recorded your father's achievements word for word and reported them to the royal family. Because of his many contributions over the years, he should be able to receive the Royal Martial Merit Medal. The funeral will be held in 3 days. I plan to conduct it with the highest level of respect. Oh, I see. I was planning to be an unfilial daughter starting from now. I didn't expect that he had already run away. He always said he would die on the battlefield when dealing with monsters. I didn't expect him to go like that for real. I haven't finished complaining yet. But he has already left. The girl, in order to become the disgraceful daughter that tarnishes the family's reputation, had already prepared numerous methods to rebel against her own father. But what awaited her was the news of her father's death on the battlefield. I haven't even finished complaining, and he's already gone like this. Sorry. Because I am the current lord. The command of the front line is also in my hands. Your father's sacrifice was my responsibility. So blame me if you must. Uncle, are you really Ethan, His Royal Highness the Prince? I heard about His Royal Highness the Prince before. He is someone who only cares about himself and disregards the feelings of those around him. A reckless and unrestrained playboy. Please don't always talk about me being a playboy. There will be attendants waiting at the door. Feel free to instruct the attendants if you need anything. Just as Ethan was about to leave, Bunny called out to him again. I'm really sorry about what happened yesterday. The carriage and everything. Understood. You take a good rest first. And that's it. In the room, there was only Bunny left. Your Highness Ethan, you should first know Miss Bunny's age. She is still a student, and 2 years younger than Dennis. And the earliest time she appears in the game is in the second half of the second year. But due to various events that happen in this game, she appears earlier than usual. I see. No wonder Bunny looks different from how she appears in the game. As a tank class, Bunny's agility is unbelievably high. Just these stats alone are enough to justify her title as the strongest tank. However, at this time, Ethan discovered a strange characteristic. It turns out that because Bunny is still young, there may be small or large mistakes on the battlefield. It seems that appearing on the scene too early is not entirely a good thing. But Bunny is still a child after all. At her age, she shouldn't be on this battlefield at all. She should be playing around with friends, like a normal person. Suddenly, a sharp pain struck Ethan's brain. He remembered a familiar figure. My lord, do you want to invite Bunny to join the team? Its words were meant to bring Ethan back to reality. But Ethan did not respond to him.